What's going on, guys? JFC here. The best players in FIFA, parts like 4 on the channel, I think. I like doing these once every few weeks to a month to update you guys with what I think the best players in FIFA are, because we know, especially I have not done one since the really big meta change, I don't think, with explosive players being pretty much just as good as lengthy players. So guys, the players I'm going to choose for this video are like pretty ratty, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna choose guys who are top tier meta cards. I want to pick cards that actually can like take you to that next level almost and unlock your full potential. I love using fun cards, but this video is just not gonna really be for the fun cards. I'm gonna pick my favorite players, the best players I think they're going to be at each position, with a max cap of like maybe like 1.5 million coins, because I'm not going to put R9 and Inform Mbappe and Pele in this video. This card's so good, it's kind of like, what's the point? Like, I mean, imagine if you had him first owner. Like, I mean, that would be crazy, right? Okay, I'm done. This video is going to be probably pretty long, so I'm just going to go over like my ratty, this is the rat team right here. So let's begin. We're going to start off in goal, because goalkeeper is a little bit, it's kind of negligible, right? Not a lot of keepers are that much different from one another. If you look at keepers, one that really is probably the best keeper in the game is Thibaut Courtois. He kind of was last year, I think. I think this year is the same, because he's 6'6" with long throw and comes for crosses trait. I think that's kind of what separates him. There's not a whole lot that separates goalkeepers, but I think Thibaut Courtois is probably the best one. I like Jan Oblak. I have used him. It's rare you get to use Oblak because obviously he's like Atletico Madrid, so it's a little bit harder to link him, but I have used Oblak. I did like him a lot. And I will say that Mid Yashin is always a pretty good goalkeeper to use, honestly. I don't know what it is about Mid Yashin, but he's always pretty good. He only has like team player trait. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just the passion, But I don't know. Yeah, Mid Yashin's always pretty good. I think your best bet is probably to just kind of go with Courtois. Many people are going to be using Eder Militao at center back, who we'll get to in a little bit. There's a lot of Real Madrid links in this game. Usually can fit Courtois in there. For Premier League goalkeeper, I know many people have Premier League teams. My favorite Premier League goalkeeper is actually David De Gea. I think David De Gea is actually probably the best Prem keeper I've used so far. Better than Lloris, Alisson, and Ederson, and Mendy. I've all used them pretty extensively, and I think De Gea is the best one. So now we're going to go to right back, and I think, I use attacking fullbacks. So I think that right back and left back for me are pretty actually important positions. I think this year using attacking fullbacks is really, really nice, and they can oftentimes be an underrated, really important position in this game. The one that stands out to me like immediately already is just Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker doesn't have to be this card, it can be his gold card. This to me is the best right back in the game. I think Kyle Walker is actually one of the best players in FIFA. I know it's like a crazy thing to say because he's an 85 rated gold, but for whatever reason, this Kyle Walker card is just unbelievable. He's so fast. The physical capabilities of this card is insane. He helps in my attack so much, and I don't know, I can't say enough good things about Kyle Walker. If you want somebody though, it's a little bit like underrated in my opinion. I think Zambrata, this World Cup icon Zambrata, is very good. I think physical fullbacks this year, super, super good. He can also pass, his dribbling's fine, and he can get to 99 pace. So I think Zambrata is fantastic, honestly. I think Zambrata is very, very good this year. My 2 favorite fullbacks, definitely Zambrata, Kyle Walker. I think Dani Alves is not bad. I like Dani Alves. It's just harder to link a little bit. And of course, Hakimi, you can't forget. Hakimi is very good. I don't think it's quite as good as Kyle Walker, but I do think Hakimi is very good. If you want to go for a little more of a budget option, I do think, a budget option is just gold Kyle Walker, right? But a budget option is a little bit different. Is Thomas Mooney I actually really like as well. He's very physical. He feels okay on the ball actually, and I've used him as a super sub as for my Kyle Walker. And I really, really enjoy this Mounier card. We're gonna put Kyle Walker in because I do think he's probably the best right back in FIFA. Center backs, there's a lot of really, really dominant center backs this year. I think for me, there's probably like 6 or 7 that are like top tier meta cards. First one being Virgil van Dijk. It can be his gold card or this card, obviously. Virgil van Dijk is just an absolutely insane player this year. The Van Dijk is back at his like top FIFA 19 form where he was unstoppable. Lucio's of course right there as well. He can be his World Cup hero or his regular hero card. Lucio's fantastic. His physicals are insane. 6'2", medium high with those physical stats. Physical stats are my favorite stats this year that are very underrated and very useful. Lucio is fantastic. Cluedo Koulibaly I think is part of this elite sort of company. Koulibaly, once again, the guys with really super high physicals, right? 97 strength on Koulibaly with the 6'2" height is fantastic. I think Koulibaly just fits right into that top tier meta. I think Rudiger's ones to watch probably is right there as well. 6'3" with absolutely insane strength and aggression. It's the same type of thing. Eder Militao, it's a new World Cup Phenoms card. Militao's body type in game is like very, I don't know how to put it. It's almost like Tomori's, but their body types are just like much bigger, and their physical stats are even better than they suggest because of that. And Militao's like just rapid. Militao's fantastic, and then let's find Tomori now. Inform Tomori, just 6'1". He's 91 sprint speed before a shadow is insane. This Tomori card is by far one of the top tier center backs in FIFA. Right next to him is probably the last guy I'd put in the S tier of center backs, and that's Ronald Araujo. I think Araujo is right there as well. 93 reactions on this card is crazy. This card's been on my team for a long time, and he's not leaving anytime soon. Araujo is amazing. And right here, actually, if you want to go for any more underrated options, a couple of underrated options I really like. I think this Simon Kjaer cards is better than people give credit for. 6'3", low-high work rates as well. Great physicals. 88 sprint speed, so with a shadow, he's going to get close to almost max sprint speed. I think for a budget option, like if we need Milan links, you cannot go wrong with this card at all. I think the two best center backs, if I had to choose two, is going to be Virgil van Dijk as one of them, and I think the other one is going to be Fikayo Tomori. I do think Tomori, this Inform Tomori, is still like probably my second favorite center back in the game this year. Everything about him I just love. I think these are the two best center backs in FIFA, in my opinion, right now. At left back, there's a couple that are my favorites. I think there's not a ton to talk about with left backs. I think there's two really main ones. And that's Inform Cancelo, who I've used for like 500 games, and he's amazing. Everything about him is exactly what I'm looking for out of my fullbacks. I can attack pretty well, 6 foot, which makes his physicals way better. And this Captivia card is also my probably second favorite left back in the game. 6 foot as well. You can tell the trend is like the taller fullbacks for sure. And everything about him as well. He can pass. His dribbling is good. Interception's high. Captivia is an amazing card as well. So those are like my two favorites for sure. I do think Theo is near there. I just don't like the fact that he can't pass that well. And his defending isn't quite as high as maybe some of those other guys I talked about. If you want a budget option, just go gold for Mendy. I know this is the World Cup player item. Just go gold for Mendy. Like that's going to be your best budget, your best bet for a budget card. And then somebody who's not really a left back by trade, but I mean is a left back, but the card's a left wing, if I could type, is Alphonso Davies. I think this Alphonso Davies card as a left back was fantastic when I used him. I know he's high-low, so it does mean he's not going to get back quite as much, so that's why maybe I wouldn't put him in the S tier for left backs. Maybe just a titch below Cancelo and Captivia. I think Davies is right near there. Best left back in the game, though, I'm going to go with my boy Cancelo, who I've played with how many games of this card? 533. So there you go. I love this Cancelo card so much. CDMs. So we're gonna start with just like kind of DMs that just strictly are there for just defending, right? In like formation, like a 4-2-2, like this guy who's gonna just kind of sit back and play that defensive mid role and not move too much from there. I think the best player for this role is, funnily enough, last time I made a video like this, I said this player might have been a little overrated, but I've started to use him more, and the more I use him, the more I just need this guy on my team. This card's insane. Is Yaya Toure. 6'2", his legs are just gigantic in game. The guy's physical stats are outrageous with 94 stamina, 92 strength. The passing is there, the shooting's there, the dribbling feels just fine. There's nothing wrong with this card. I love him. I need him in my team basically at all times at this point. I don't know what happened, but Yaya is insane, and I understand why he's in every person's pro team. It's a card I've used a little bit. I don't necessarily think his 3-star weak foot can kind of piss you off sometimes, but defending wise, he's very good. Like the strength and aggression, you know, as you saw, is there for sure. If he's a Sergio Busquets, and I actually like him a lot too. I notice his interceptions being very, very high. 98 composure with crazy high passing. This card's pretty actually underrated in my opinion. Even though he's like, I think it's like 180k or something like that. He's still kind of underrated. I like people don't even know his card exists. But I really like Busquets. Honestly, I liked him a lot. This is brand new Guendouzi card, just using draft. 6'1", medium high. 91 interceptions to go along with like high dribbling. Physicals are really, really good. Passing is high. This Guendouzi card is going to be fantastic. He's not that expensive, right? On the market, yeah, Guendouzi is only 117,000 coins. That is a bargain. So he's going to go down as the week goes on, too. So I think Guendouzi's fantastic. And last guy to put for like a strictly kind of DM type player is Brozovic. I think Brozovic is actually really good. He's going to get an upgrade now, too. He's extinct, so you can't even really try him if you wanted to right now. But I liked him a lot as just a strictly CDM card. Definitely liked him. So now I'm going to get to like the box-to-box players a little bit more. Who can kind of play, who can play as a DM if you wanted them to, but they can also play as like that box-to-box center mid role really, really well. Should off like the first guy I see is Claudio Marquisio. I think Marquisio is probably the best box-to-box mid in the game. I don't know. It's very tough for me, but it doesn't have to be the World Cup hero card either. It can be just like the regular hero card. Marquisio feels fantastic in game. He just has no weakness. He's great at defending. Passing's there. Shooting's there. Dribbling's there. It's all there, right? Whole package for Marquisio. He's just fantastic. Federico Valverde is also fantastic as a box-to-box midfielder. Everything about this card is like exactly what I said about Marquisio, except he's even faster. So that's Valverde. You can play this card at DM too, definitely. His pace is what you really notice in that midfield. Like he's so fast. He's so fast in the midfield. Patrick Vieira, strictly as a DM, is just like the same as he's always been this year. He's insane. I still think this Lamar card's actually really good. I still think he's like within the power curve too. 5'7", I know, which is kind of like not really what I've been doing in this video, is naming like short guys, but I still loved this Lamar card as like a box-to-box midfielder. I definitely would suggest him. It's a little bit of a cheaper option. I thought Rabiot's pretty good too. Just looking at some of these lower guys here. Renato Sanchez is obviously like in the god tier of midfielders. This card is like an icon. I don't know how to explain it. Every year this Renato Sanchez card plays like +10 on all of these stats, and his stats are already insane. But I think the best DM in the game is Yaya Toure. I really do think so. I think Toure is the best DM, and I'm going to go the box-to-box midfielder next to him. I'm going to go with Renato Sanchez. I think Renato Sanchez is probably the best box-to-box mid I've used in the game, and he's expensive for a reason. This card is insane. So we'll look at cams first. I'm looking at wingers in a sec. For center attacking mids, Neymar can be a winger too, but I think this Neymar card's outrageously good post-patch. He's like almost max pace. 5'5's insane. His dribbling in game's outrageous. Outside foot shot trait as well. Post patch, he's like one of my favorite players probably. I love Neymar. I would highly recommend him. I know he's expensive, but he's outrageously good. I like George Haji a lot. I think Haji is a very underrated icon for a cam. I think Socrates is a cam, very underrated as well. The physicals with him is fantastic. His composure being 96. This card finishes like every one-on-one. It's crazy. This card's amazing and pretty slept on. I think JJ Okocha is almost in the top tier. I don't know if he quite is for me, but if you just want to go with, you know, LOA Ron's a base cam. I think he's probably more of a winger or a striker, but LOA Ron is outrageous. I mean, I think you guys probably know us by now. He's in like everyone's team. And the fact he has 99 pace, you could just give him like a dead eye and it ups his finishing to like max shot power to, you know, 92. It allows you to upgrade a lot more stats, and this card's insane. It's insane. You guys have played against him. It makes no sense how good he is. Hold on, I can't believe I forgot my passion man himself, Park Ji-sung. Box-to-box midfielder. This is your guy right here. You can play him as DM if you want to. I think box-to-box mid, he's just outstanding. This guy is filled with passion. He's running everywhere. Interceptions are crazy. Park Ji-sung is actually super good. I think Del Piero is a cam, also a very underrated icon as well. I like Del Piero a lot. If I had to pick one center attacking mid, I'm probably picking Neymar. Especially because Neymar's inform, it's expensive, but it's like, you know, it's 800k or something like that. So it's actually kind of, you know, we've had inform Neymars with 2 million coins. So all things considered, yeah, I think Neymar's probably the best cam. Let's look at wingers now. Thierry Henry's kind of played more as like a striker usually, but I actually like Henry a lot this year. Heung-min Son this year as well, I really enjoy. I use his base gold, and he's still fantastic. This card is obviously even better. Some years Heung-min Son isn't necessarily amazing. I think Phil Foden is dribbling animations still. You know, this card's a little bit behind the power curve, maybe. But I think this Phil Foden card, you can go like 20-0 with this Phil Foden card. I honestly really do think you can do that. Underrated card, Christian Pulisic. I've been using him and I actually really like him. I was surprised. His dribbling feels absolutely insane. I don't know what, I mean, he just has 94 base dribbling. That kind of helps. I think Mo Salah is very good this year as well. I think this is a year where Salah is actually, there's been a few years where Salah is not amazing. He's always like decent, of course, but I think Salah is very good this year. Jorginho obviously is great. Informed Dembele is outrageously good. I cannot believe he's so cheap. Obviously he got really heavily supplied because he was in best of team of the week, but this Dembele card is outrageously good. Even though he has 78 finishing, I don't know, dude. His card's insane. He feels like a 95 overall. I mean, Dembele is outrageously good. I think Sadio Mane is good this year too. I like Mane a lot. Mane always has dribbling animations in FIFA, and they're always very nice. David Ginola, of course. I mean, not much. You don't need to say too much more about Ginola. I like Joe Cole a lot. I didn't love Joe Cole's regular hero card. I think Joe Cole's World Cup hero card though is very good. Getting those like +2 to +3s in certain areas really helps this card a lot. I think World Cup hero Joe Cole is very good. So if I had to pick the best winger, it's really close for me between Ousmane Dembele and this card, but I'm going to go with Heung-min Son. I think Son this year is just great. I think this is just one of his best years in FIFA, honestly. Striker now is a lot of strikers to look at. I think Rudy Valaire is very, very good. I think he's underrated a little bit because he's only got 3-star skills. I really, really liked this card when I used him. I mean, look at those shooting stats with the 98 reactions. I don't know. This card's really, really good, honestly. Samuel Eto'o this year is amazing. I have his mid card. Of course, you can just use this card too. I mean, this card has a 4 or 5-star weak foot, so you can kind of like disregard that part of this card because everything else with the mid Eto'o is like, you know, similar to this card basically. Besides the 5-star weak foot, he's fantastic. I love mid Eto'o. Can't say too much about Drogdini right now because yeah, I don't know how it's even possible. Guys, Erling Haaland's still fantastic. I still think Erling Haaland's very good. Despite the meta changing, all that stuff, Erling Haaland, 6'5", just physically absolutely insane. He finishes everything. I still think Haaland, I went like 18-2 with him in my team like a week and a half ago. Like Erling Haaland is outrageously good still. There's mid Eto'o, so yeah, there you go. For Richarlison, I really, really liked 5-star weak foot to go along with high physicals is like just crazy good this year. I'm telling you. He can shoot from like anywhere in the box, hold guys off. Richarlison's awesome. Any card that comes out this year with a 5-star weak foot and he has physicals is going to be like what I'm going to go for immediately. I also think Darwin Nunez is like the budget Haaland. If you can get this card too, ones to watch. I mean, he's basically Haaland. The same thing. 3-3, just right-footed. He's the right-footed version of Erling Haaland. With better dribbling and worse shooting. I mean, so Darwin Nunez is like a budget version of him. So if I had to pick 2 strikers, I'm going to go back to somebody who we talked about a little bit earlier. It's Alaway-Ron. This card is outrageously good. It's not fair. This Alaway-Ron card is just ridiculous. And then my right striker. This is tough because I'm not going to put Mbappe or R9 here, right? I wanted to say Erling Haaland still, just to like say the lengthy players are still good. And it's very close. But I'm going to go with Samuel Eto'o. I'm going to do it. I think Eto'o is outrageously good this year. I really do think so. Yeah, I think this team right here would be like one of my dream teams. Of course, this is just, you know, chemistry, you know, not applying here. If you could somehow fit as many of these guys in your team as you could, it's probably at a set of 11 of like my favorite cards in the game this year. Looking at snubs now, ignoring obviously like the Peles and R9s and stuff like that, because that would just be too easy. I did not say anything about Lionel Messi. And the reason being is I don't think Messi's bad this year by any means, but not including this flashback card. If you didn't do the flashback card, I just think Messi's just a teeny bit too slow. And he doesn't quite have great physicals, right, to make up for that slowness. So when I use Messi, I liked him when he was in the box. He was amazing when he was just in the box, just doing his thing, his passing, obviously. Everything about Messi is outrageous other than his pace and physicals, right? I think this is a year where balance is actually pretty important. I think if a card's lacking in physicals, or lacking in certain areas, you'll kind of notice that on the pitch. I think Messi, unfortunately, is lacking in sprint speed and strength, and I think that's very important this year. So I think like if you see a Messi card with like team of the year Messi, right? That card's going to be outrageous because he's going to have like 94 pace or 93 pace and like 82 strength or something like that. That's going to be an outrageous card. And similar to the GOAT talk, right? Cristiano Ronaldo. Didn't say anything too much about him. I think Ronaldo's good again this year as well. I do believe so. But I just don't think he's quite as dominant as usual. I think he's good. I don't think he's S-tier striker level type stuff. If Ronaldo, you know, gets a team of the year card because of like honorable mentions or whatever, I'm sure that card is going to be outrageous. But just for the cards he has now, I don't think he's quite S-tier level attacker. Another snub might have been Franck Ribéry, and I do like Ribéry. It's kind of the same sort of thing though. He just, for some reason, for me, he just wasn't quite to the level that I wanted him to be when I used him. Maybe I need to use him for a little bit longer, but just wasn't quite the S-tier level. I thought he was good, but I just didn't think he was quite the level that I wanted him to be. The highest rated center back in the game other than Van Dijk is Paolo Maldini, and I don't think, honestly, Maldini is going to be in like my S-tier center backs at all. I just don't think so. Every time I've used him, I've just thought it was a little underwhelming, honestly. I think it's the lack of physicals for me. He's fine, for sure. Definitely fine player. But I think, as you probably can tell in this video by now, I like strength a lot. And Maldini just doesn't really quite have that strength. Roberto Carlos might have been a snub. I think Carlos is good, but also he might not quite be S tier. Got to use him for a little bit longer, though. I've only used him for a little bit, so maybe I got to use him for a little bit longer and see. Hey, guys, who did I forget? Because I'm sure I forgot somebody, right? I 100% forgot somebody. I'm going to immediately, while editing this video, be like, oh, I forgot to say him. It's going to happen. Leave a comment down below who your favorite players are this year, because this is just my opinion, right? The more opinions, the better. I love you all. I'll see you in the next video very, very soon. Peace!